2 for $1 Thursday. Buy one wristband, get one free. Share Me Farms Petting Zoo, Swifty Swine Pig Racing, all free with admission. GBRSF.com.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callan Injury Lawyers, LA 21 12681. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday. Means we're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Working towards the weekend. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up. You were hanging out here with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We got a lot to get to here on this Thursday. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, coming up at 2:15. Luke Johnson will join us talking Saints at 2:30. And we're going to talk a little bit LSU running game. I listened to Frank Wilson's press conference on Thursday, and one thing stood out more than the others about the stuff on the field, so I want to discuss that a little bit as we get into the show a little bit later on today. But for right now, let's crank it up the way we do every day with our Genesis Opening Drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Well, this bye week's interesting, no? I think that's pretty safe to say. As someone who produces content surrounding LSU athletics, the football bye weeks can be a little slow. You don't have an opponent to prepare for. I can't preview LSU's game or pick it coming up this weekend. So you kind of, in your head, before the bye week, are thinking about, okay, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to write about during that bye week? Well, when you fire a coach and then the governor starts talking about it in a press conference, you got a lot of content. And so I realized that almost all of you, I would imagine all of you, is that fair to say? Not fair to say every single person, but a lot of you by now are aware of the press conference that the governor held yesterday, which had nothing to do with LSU athletics. And it turned into that at the end. And that's all that we're going to talk about here, because I want to be very upfront and very clear to start this segment. I have no idea what's going on with our state education system. I don't have any idea about coastal erosion or hurricane preparedness. I don't know about any of the political issues, honestly, that are plaguing the state of Louisiana or that are great strengths of Louisiana. I don't know a ton right now about the insurance game. Been out of that for a long time. So, as far as what the governor does day to day with all of the issues around our state, I don't really know a lot about it. I sit here and I talk about sports. And so I never deal with the governor. I don't watch his press conferences. I'm just not all that concerned with the things that go on in our politics. We've got a phenomenal news talk station one floor below us, Brian Haldane, Moon Griffon, the whole crew down there. It's great. If you want to hear about politics, you're absolutely free to go and listen to them. You want to hear about sports, you can hang out with us, and that's generally what I'll do. But yesterday it crossed over, and it was unavoidable. And I listened to what Governor Landry had to say, and my biggest takeaway from what he had to say was disappointment. I was disappointed that the answers came so quickly. I was disappointed to even start this segment. I was disappointed that the question wasn't just deflected. We're not here to talk about LSU athletics. We're not here to talk about the football coach. We're not here to talk about the athletic director. I'm here to talk about the task at hand, youth nutrition, and we'll discuss those at a later day. That's what I would have liked to have seen. But instead, you saw a very emboldened, very impassioned, very demonstrative governor speaking about LSU's football coach and athletic director. And in my opinion, humiliating the athletic director, Scott Woodward. That's my opinion. Scott can feel the way he feels. The governor can discuss how he wanted that to be interpreted. But for me, for the governor, without the athletic director president, to come up and say that he will not be involved in hiring the next football coach was a shot at the athletic director that I don't feel like needed to be lobbed. That's my opinion on that matter. And then you get into the nuts and bolts as that continued. And I wrote a column at LouisianaSports.net, and I had issues with some of the statements that the governor made. I had an issue with the governor suggesting, first of all, the phrasing, when he starts with, let me tell you something. The guy that's here now that wrote the contracts cost A&M $70-something million. Right now, LSU's got a $53 million liability. Like, the let me tell you something, it's just like, it's so condescending in my view. And to start that way, and then to suggest that Woodward was the one on the hook for the $70 million at Texas A&M, it's just a half-truth. Like, Scott Woodward did hire Jimbo Fisher to a 10-year, $75 million fully guaranteed contract. And then 3 years later, after Jimbo had a great year at Texas A&M, Ross Bjork extended that deal and increased the buyout by double. And that was not presented yesterday. It was just, hey, Woodward's responsible for this massive buyout at Texas A&M. Well, it's misleading. It just is. It's misleading. And I have an issue with the governor saying, I'm tired of rewarding failure in this country and then leaving the taxpayers to foot the bill. I believe that to be misleading. I do. I've got the contract for Brian Kelly right in front of me. It says, liquidated damages for termination by LSU without cause. LSU will pay employee, Brian Kelly, and company liquidated damages in the amount of 90% of base salary and supplemental compensation, which would have been payable to the employee and company for the unexpired term, plus any prorated longevity compensation for the year in which the termination occurs. So technically, if Governor Landry, who is an attorney and knows far more about contractual obligations than I do, wants to get up there and say that the taxpayers are on the hook for the buyout, he can say that and point to this. And he can go on Pat McAfee's show, which he did today, and say that the taxpayers are on the or to foot the bill for this. He can say the taxpayers are on the hook because it does say here the contract is with Louisiana State University. Louisiana State University is funded by the taxpayers. He can lean on that. What do we know as I begin to editorialize here from a sports perspective? We know that LSU athletics is self-funded. We know that the Tiger Athletic Foundation is an arm of LSU athletics that collects private money from donors, and that when there's an opportunity to pay a coach, when there's an opportunity to buy out a coach, Tiger Athletic Foundation, far more often than not, I would dare say almost always in recent times, comes up with that money. WDSU, reputable news source in New Orleans, reported that one family stepped up to foot the lion's share of that bill. I'm here suggesting it would be shocking to me if the taxpayers in Louisiana State University paid Brian Kelly $54 million. If the attorney wants to point to this contract and say, LSU's on the hook, I'm telling you, they're on the hook. Like, he can do that, and he would be correct in that assertion. But as he said on the Pat McAfee show, unless someone steps up. And if you want to play that legalese game, you can. But in my opinion, as I editorialize, that was designed to tell the people of Louisiana, like, you're on the hook for this because the athletic director signed this contract and you're going to have to pay for this. I don't believe that to be the case. I believe private money will take care of that buyout. And so I believe that that's a half-truth. I believe that that is disingenuous. And he continued to speak about the agents and said in a quote that, first of all, he said, here's what y'all reporters need to do. That's how he started the answer. It's what you need. Here's your assignment. Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people, these agents. If I'm not mistaken, Woodward's agent, Kelly's agent, Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. It's ridiculous. Well, if you want me to talk about that, I checked with Jimbo Fisher today. His agent is Jimmy Sexton. Brian Kelly's agent is Trace Armstrong. Now, you heard, if you were on the McAfee show today, Governor Landry went on and said, look, Brian Kelly's agent and Scott Woodward's agents are the same. I have no information that says that Trace Armstrong represents Scott Woodward. That's not public. And I could not get anyone to confirm it or not. And perhaps that's true. And we will get to a point here where I do agree with the governor that these buyouts are a little ridiculous. And that's the crux of what he is suggesting, I think, at Scott Woodward's expense. But LSU's not alone here. Penn State's doing it. Florida's doing it. Florida State's about to do it. Auburn does it every 20 minutes. And I agree that these contracts are a little out of hand. But I believe the way the governor went about it was disappointing to me. It was disappointing to me to make a scene like that in a press conference not designed for it. It was disappointing to me to treat Scott Woodward like that. It's disappointing to me that he comes back 20 hours later and he's on the Pat McAfee show and he's giving what I believe to be misleading information that is factually true on the document, but we all know not to be exactly accurate. And the bigger part of this is what happens moving forward. Because you've cut the legs out from Scott Woodward, who I think it's reasonable to suggest at this point is not going to be involved in the hire. The governor said that. Probably won't be employed. That's a guess on my part, but I think it's rooted in some truth there. If you heard yesterday's press conference, you don't have a university president yet, and you're about to go on a coaching search. And the governor says that he's going to put together the board of supervisors, which he helps appoint. Not all of them are Landry appointees, but some of them are, and there will be more to come. That they're going to put together a committee to go hire the coach. Well, if that's the case, and I'm just taking him on his word, that the committee from the board of supervisors is going to go hire a coach. That's what he said. That's not the way it usually happens. An athletic director usually hires the coach. And then when the athletic director hires the coach, he works with the coach, fosters that relationship, and helps the program move forward. If the committee does it, and then the new president goes and hires an athletic director, which those dominoes could fall in that direction, well, now you've got a coach who doesn't know who he's going to be working for when he's hired. And there may not be that great relationship because the athletic director wasn't the one that hired him. So now, does the coach really want to come work there? If you'd assume that the athletic director is going to be put in, I don't know if we have a great relationship. He might, at the drop of a hat, decide to move on. Do I want to take that job? Penn State's open. Florida's open. It's just a dysfunctional ecosystem to hire a coach right this second. Now, if LSU appoints a president in the next 10 days, and that president goes out and hires an athletic director in 20 days, and that athletic director who's got contacts around the sports decides that he's going to go and conduct that search and hires a coach, and all that falls into place, we'll discuss that on this show. That would be more functional. But right now, what you've got is no football coach, an athletic director who's had his legs cut out from under him, no system president, and a governor going on the media tour and kind of airing all the dirty laundry. And that's disappointing to me because I just don't find it to be that functional. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go to every national outlet that's like, whoa, did you see what the Louisiana governor did? You see that? And I don't find it to be a term of endearment. All I know right now is that the governor's got his fingerprints on this, and he's all in on making sure that this is done his way. He's talking about on the Pat McAfee show, crushing the can, not kicking it down the road, crushing the can. He may crush the can. It may go great. But right now, I'm looking at this, and I am, as a Louisiana citizen and certainly as a fan of LSU and someone who covers this athletically, disappointed in the way that this has gone down in the last 24 hours. None of this happens. None of it. If when Glenn Guilbeau stands up and asks that question, yesterday at the press conference, if the governor just says, oh, I appreciate the question. Right now we're here to talk about something else. I'll have comment on that further at this time. We're excited about the future of LSU football and the university as a whole, and I'll discuss that later. That's all that really needed to be said. But instead, we're criticizing Scott Woodward's career. We're suggesting that the agents are in collusion. We're going out there suggesting that the taxpayers are on the hook and that they're going to be the one paying this buyout. And it just, to me, rubbed me the wrong way. It did. And I haven't found a lot of opposition to that. Now, I'll be the first to stand here and tell you, as I do regarding so many things that I cover and talk about, I reserve the right, and often do, change my tune if I get different information. But right now, with what I've got in front of me and the phone calls that I've made today, this just feels messy. It feels messy. And sometimes messy's good and gets stuff done, and sometimes messy really, really spirals things out of control. I am not even willing to speculate what that looks like going forward. But right now, I'm just disappointed at the way things have been handled in the state and with that university to this point. You've got a buyout to deal with Brian Kelly. You've got an athletic director whose future is very much in limbo, and we'll start to get answers pretty quickly. Most people in the political realm feel like an LSU president is going to be named very, very short order. Maybe today. And then we'll see what dominoes fall. I'm just disappointed the way that it's gone. That's our open to the show here. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got to tell you, it can be stressful Christmas time deciding what you're going to buy someone. Especially maybe you're a corporation, you're a business, you like to get things for your clients. How about you call Sean Sagrera, say, hey, I'd like to buy a whole animal. I'd like to buy a half, side, and I'd like to take that, have you package it for me, and I'll give that to my clients. Premium Angus beef to your clients. They will be thrilled. Fillets, ribeyes, strips, chucks, roasts, skirts, all of them. You can get those packaged. Sean will help you every step of the way, and your clients will be thrilled come Christmas time. But hey, they got to be aged, right? Got to be aged 35 days, maybe 45 days in this case. So you want to make sure you make that phone call to Sean right now so that he can age that beef, make sure that it's packaged and ready to go for your clients in December for Christmas. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows each and every week. Come back and talk some LSU run game next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is that website. Looking to hang out. Weather's a little chilly out there right now. Can't hit some golf balls maybe on the range. Maybe it rains. Maybe there's not enough grass on the range where you're trying to work on your game. Wintertime's tough, and it's coming. Swing Easy Golf Club is a spot you can spend December, January, February, our coldest months, hitting some balls inside, working on your game, so when springtime rolls around, you are ready to go. They've got incredible technology there with the ability to track your ball, to show your swing speed, to show your launch angle, to show your carry distance, to show the slow motion impact of your golf club on the golf ball. Awesome technology at Swing Easy Golf Club and a great spot to work on your game. So go by and see them at Seagan near Perkins. If you do that, you can sign up for a membership, get you some great perks over there. Talk to them about it. Check it out online at SwingEasyGCBR.com. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef, off and running here. In about an hour, we'll talk to Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, and we will chat with Luke Johnson, covering the Saints, in hour number 2 as well. I do want to talk about some LSU football here on the field, because they do have to play 4 more games. They're going to go to Tuscaloosa a week from Saturday. They're going to play the Arkansas Razorbacks the following week. Then you'll play Western Kentucky, and they'll head up to Norman to wrap things up here. And I'm not sure how that's going to go. I honestly don't. I was asked that earlier today on SEC This Morning. Like, what do you think? And, like, Peter Burns was making the case that potentially LSU could win them all. Like, if they could go to Tuscaloosa and win, then they can win them all. And I was like, yeah, well, that's true. I just don't know if I'd bet on that currently. But I'm curious what it looks like. One thing I'm not curious about, I'm convicted in this. They're going to run the ball. I don't know if they're going to run it well, but they're going to run it. I was listening to Frank Wilson's press conference, wrote a story up at LouisianaSports.net, and he said, quote, there's going to be a huge emphasis this bye week on running the ball. And then he kind of chuckled and he said, I promise you we will run the ball. And then he continued, I think it complements us and allows us to be much more effective in the pass game where we have tremendous weapons that we haven't utilized to their full potential. The running game was Joe Sloan's biggest undoing. I don't think there's any way you could argue against that. Y'all realize there's 136 teams in D1, right? 136. LSU currently ranks 125th in the country in rushing offense. It's almost November. 125th in rushing offense. That is dead last in the SEC for the second consecutive year. So for the whole time that Joe Sloan was here in Baton Rouge, LSU was the worst of 16 teams in the conference in running the ball. Now, some of that's on Sloan. Some of that's on the offensive line. Some of it's on LSU not winning as much as they should and not running the ball late in games. Like, there are pieces to that pie, but ultimately it's got to lay at the offensive coordinator's feet. When you cannot run the ball at all, that's a massive problem. And I would also suggest that the yardage is not even the biggest issue. LSU runs the ball 28 times per game. I mentioned there's 136 FBS teams, 136. LSU is 134th in rushing attempts per game. San Jose State runs it fewer times per game. Middle Tennessee State runs it fewer times per game. Those two teams are a combined 3-12 on the season. Like, that's just inexplainable. You cannot forge an offense with 4- and 5-star offensive linemen, a 5-star tailback, a 4-star tailback, fifth-year senior tight end, and you don't run the ball at all. So Wilson has made a change here. You're going to go to Alex Atkins calling the plays. He's an offensive line guy, tight ends coach on this team, but he's an offensive line guy. And I think you're going to see LSU run the football. Another quote from Wilson, he said, at times we've done it. We want to do it more consistently. If we do that, it'll allow our team and our offense to be much more effective. And he's right. Like, in the first half of the A&M game, like, I feel like we didn't even talk about the A&M game because Monday we're talking about the coach being fired. And then Wednesday, you've got the athletic director fallout. And, like, so we just haven't spent a lot of time on this game. But Harlem Berry and Caden Durham, in the first half of the A&M game, 86 yards on 11 carries. 86 yards on 11 carries in the first half. That's almost 8 yards a pop. I can do that math. Not my strong suit, but I can do it. 11 times 8, 88. They had 86 yards, almost 11 yards a pop for this group. Of course I botched that. 11 carries, almost 8 yards a pop, not 11 yards a pop. Math, not my best. But the point remains, 8 yards a pop. And then Harlem Berry touched it one time in the second half. Like, that That's not right. I can't sit here and suggest that LSU simply cannot run the ball if you average 8 yards a carry in the first half and you don't ever run it in the second half. And I understand that you could say, well, the game got out of hand. In the fourth quarter, you're down 3 scores. That's true. But you had a whole third quarter, and Harlan Berry touched it one time. Like, I was looking at his runs, and it wasn't even that he busted off a 51-yarder to get to that number. It was 4, 7, 11, 6, 4, 9. And you saw, if you're just watching the game, you saw Harlan Berry breaking tackles. You saw him making cuts. You saw him being patient, getting up the field, getting into the end zone. He just went away. I like the left side of that offensive line with Kern at tackle, with Eccles at guard, and with Moore at center. I don't know about it in pass protection. It's probably not great. But as far as running the ball, those guys are physical. Like, that's a physical group of guys. Kern's a true freshman. Eccles, second year. Moore, fifth year or fourth year anchor there. Like, those guys can move some people. And LSU just went away from it. Now, the question becomes, how much of Michael Van Buren do you use to accent that running game? How much of Michael Van Buren do you use to get in that wildcat, to do some read option, to do something a little bit differently? Because that just didn't happen for LSU earlier. And Brian Kelly said in a press conference, like, I'm not going to take Nussmeier off the field. And so you knew that you weren't going to get Van Buren. And at this point, I think it's easier to get Van Buren on the field, not because you're looking at next year. That's not why I would do this. Everything that Frank Wilson, Alex Atkins, this staff does for the next 4 weeks needs to have an eye on the next 4 weeks. Any of these coaches could be sitting there walking papers. Any of these players could transfer, go to the NFL, graduate, whatever. There's no point in, like, developing guys for next year. You don't know who's going to be on the team. It needs to be done for the next 4 games. And if you're looking at Michael Van Buren, maybe he gives you something. And your goals for the season are essentially off the table, so it's not a huge offense to Nussmeier to take him off the field for 2 snaps. See what you can do running the ball. Trust me, the guy's getting lit up like a Christmas tree most weeks. Sure, he'd be okay taking a couple snaps off. And Wilson said he left the door open for that. He said, Garrett's our starting quarterback. He gives us an opportunity to be efficient with our offense. But I think Michael has a skill set that adds value to our football team that will be called upon that could help us win the game. At the end of the day, we're going to do what it takes to win the game. Garrett Nussmeier is our starting quarterback. But they leave that door open for Van Buren to have a piece in this. And I'm for that. Make the defenses prepare for 2 different guys. Make the defenses defend 2 different things. And if that helps you in the running game, with giving Harlan Berry more touches, with getting Caden Durham more involved, with committing to that more, I'm for all that. All that sounds good. And to go back to the start of this segment where I was, discussing it, it's like, I don't know what the emotional level is going to be of this team. I don't know what the next 4 games from a win-loss perspective is going to look like. I don't know how good the defense is, especially if Weeks comes back. But I'm confident in saying, based on Frank Wilson's answer on Tuesday. Got that right?
Well, Frank Wilson, when he had his press conference?
Tuesday. Is that right? Yes, that's right, because I was at home doing it. Tuesday. He said, we're going to run the ball. And I believe it. I believe the running backs coach, who is giving play calling duties to an offensive line coach, is going to run the ball. And I think that's a positive thing for LSU as we move into the final 4 games of the season. We're here on a Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, And parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef brings you our Thursday shows. About, let's do some quick math there. I can handle that. About 42 minutes away from Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers. We'll also talk to Luke Johnson about the Saints, the bottom of hour number 2. Let's talk about those Saints as they take on the Los Angeles Rams coming up on Sunday. And I talked earlier this week about the ridiculous front that the Rams have. And I'm going through Ross Jackson's piece on LouisianaSports.net. It's got a great little intro to the Rams. This is a group that is really difficult to deal with. I did an entire segment on it back on Tuesday's show. But Jared Verse has been phenomenal. LSU fans that are listening to us remember him from his days at Florida State. Byron Young has had an awesome go of it. Those two guys have 13 sacks through 7 games. And look, they're stout in the trenches. There's no two ways about it. So LSU do that all the time. The Saints' ability to hold up against that front is paramount in this game coming up on Sunday. My confidence level in that, not great, but it's paramount. Now you look at the guy that is on the other side of the ball for the Rams, Matt Stafford. It's crazy to say this, but like he's getting some MVP buzz. And Ross writes this on LouisianaSports.net. Like Baker Mayfield came out like a house on fire. We saw him last week. It had been struggling. He wasn't great against the Saints last week. But you look at Stafford, like, he's a guy that you could look at with some buzz there. He's got a great coach. He spreads the ball around. He frequently, it seems like, throws for 3 touchdowns in games. And right now, this year, you're talking about 1,800 yards, 17 touchdowns against 2 interceptions, completing 63.4% of his passes. That's a lot of numbers, but that touchdown interception ratio, 17-2, that'll play in the NFL. And I think, to me, it's just a commentary on how good Sean McVay is. I realize that we probably undervalued Jared Goff when he was there and took them to that Super Bowl. You're like, oh, well, yeah, first pick, but, like, is he that good? And now he's just played so well with the Lions. So it stands to reason that, yes, Stafford and Goff are good quarterbacks that McVay has been able to coach, but it also stands to reason that guy is one heck of a football coach, developing quarterbacks, calling offense. And Stafford is still got the fastball, but he's older. He's held together by duct tape here. He's constantly dealing with injuries and back issues and the whole thing. It's interesting watching him and Clayton Kershaw try to get to the finish line. And Kershaw comes out there for the Dodgers, and he's pitching an extra innings in a huge game in Game 3. And Stafford's getting some MVP buzz. For those that aren't aware, they played on the same Little League baseball team, and they're both like right there at the end of their rope, but they're still functioning as high-level pieces to really good teams. And Stafford has been awesome to this point. And he's throwing the ball to Puka Nacua likely this week. Hasn't had him. Had some injury issues. Had an ankle deal that sidelined him in Week 7 against Jacksonville. But even without him, Stafford diced him up, threw 5 touchdowns, and was great. But you want Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams available if you're Matt Stafford, and it appears they're going to get him. So the Saints secondary is going to be up against it in this game because you've got a really good coach. You've got a veteran quarterback who has seen everything you can throw at him, and he's getting his complement of weapons back in this game. So as you look at this, it's up to the Saints, young corners, to be up to the task against pros. I mean, I don't know what else you would call Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua other than like absolute pros. I don't think I would suggest either one of them has elite game-breaking speed. I wouldn't suggest either one of them is some sort of freakish Randy Moss-style athlete that just can't deal with. It's not a lot of highlight reel catches. It's just, I know how to beat you off the line of scrimmage. I know how to get open. My quarterback knows where I'm going to be, and I can catch it. And, like, it's just clinical to watch the Rams go about things. And you've got, for the Saints, a young secondary that's kind of been iffy. They were better against Baker and the boys last week. No Mike Evans. No Chris Godwin. But this is not that. This is a whole new challenge for New Orleans. And then you flip that completely around, and you look at the Saints quarterback situation where you're starting a first-time starter, Tyler Shuck, against a retooled secondary for the Rams. They traded for Roger McCreary from the Titans, an Auburn product for those familiar. Got a second-round pick thrust into action immediately to help where they've been a little bit struggling. They got injuries. Darius Williams has got an injury. Like the Rams secondary is being retooled a little bit. It's on the Saints offensive front to give Shuck some time to go work on that. And the last piece here is interesting for Ross. I think about this more for the college team that we cover, the college games that we analyze, as opposed to the NFL. NFL is just so week to week, so week to week, so week to week. College, you got primetime matchup with the number 5 team in the country, then you play a directional state school. It's like, it's just not the same. In the NFL, it's the same every week. And Ross writes that he questions whether or not the Rams might be in a look-ahead spot. You got a Week 9 game against the Saints. After that, San Francisco, big divisional game, teams with winning records. Seattle, big divisional game, team with winning record. And then Tampa, who, theoretically, we're too early for this, but, like, you could be fighting for a home field advantage against them. Too early to know for sure, but you could. So that's a monster 3-game stretch for these Rams. And here come the little old Saints. Saints 1-7. Saints starting a quarterback who's never seen the light of day. Saints got a head coach, looks like he is in high school. It's in home. SoFi is not exactly the most rocking venue in the league. Gorgeous, not intimidating. Like, we getting up for this? We getting up for this on a Sunday? I don't know. I think so. It's the NFL. Most of the time, you're going to get a team answer the bell. But I can't swear by it. I think it's a reasonable point that Ross makes. And now it's kind of got my antenna. The Saints certainly have nothing to lose. I mean, you're going out there, nothing to lose. Playing free, wheeling and dealing. Kellen Moore wants to go for a little fourth down early. Do it. You want to fake a punt? Stuff like that doesn't happen in the NFL very often. It's more of a college thing. But, hey, you have nothing to lose. You are wounded dog. And I'm curious to see if that actually is a talking point. So, interesting stuff from Ross there. He kind of writes in order. Puka Nacua back. Rams retooling their secondary. Are the Rams in a look-ahead spot? Matthew Stafford getting some MVP buzz. And the Rams, one of the best defensive fronts in all of college football. It's a daunting task for New Orleans. There are no two ways about it. But to me, as I look at it, like, you got nothing to lose. So go out there and let's see what you got. Jordan, you're listening to me rant and rave here. What do you think?
Well, I will say this. I do like the idea that this could be the fake punt game. This feels like a fake punt game. Like just every.
I mean, how many fake punts do you see a week in the NFL? Like maybe one. Not college, many. You turn it on, they're wheeling and dealing all day.
But this is the fake punt game. You know, just we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. But I do like that this is a 3:05 kickoff. So by around this time, if it doesn't go well by the first quarter, I can take that nap. Like this is a good nap. This could be the nap game.
You hate to see that.
Yeah, I know. Look, man, look.
You don't want a November nap game, and we'll be in November at that point. That's a tough scene.
It's a tough scene, but it's the reality. I would be fake if I came on here. Yeah, guys, I think the Saints are gonna go and win it all. Like, no, all right, this is a good nap game. It could. The Rams don't really blow anybody out. Like they win games. They're just good. Yeah, they're just good. So it's. You got Tyler Shuck first start. I can't just be like, oh, yeah, I think Shuck is going to.
This has got to be among the biggest discrepancy in starts between the two quarterbacks.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean
Brady surely saw somebody in their debut, but like Matt Stafford is 40.
Yeah.
And
if I'm not mistaken, did Matt Stafford, was he at Georgia like 2008, 2009?
His last year at Georgia was 2008.
Yeah,
they came to Tiger Stadium and scored 900 points.
Yeah, so the problem with that is that means Tyler Shuck was in the 3rd grade or 4th grade. That's kind of a problem. That's kind of a problem. And then at the same time, you got Cooper. I was about to call him Cooper Kupp. You got Puka Nacua back, Devontae Adams against a very, 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 very shaky secondary. Very hot and cold, super hot and miss. So
the defense is just it aged
abysmal.
out. It aged out. They traded some guys. I mean, look, to their credit, trading Marshawn Lattimore was the right thing to do because he stinks now.
That was the right thing to do. That was probably one of the best moves Mickey made in the last couple of years.
Give Mickey a lot of credit for that move. Would you just say how good a move that was? Say, Mickey, that was really good work. I want you to say it out there.
I can't even do that, Hunt.
Come on.
Only way I can do that is if Quincy Riley becomes an all-pro. Like one of these guys that were the picks, they got to become an all-pro, then I can say that. That was a good move. Also, Mickey's second best move was missing out on Deshaun Watson. So, I'll give him a little credit on that.
Mickey, I think we're finding this guy knows what he's doing. He's got it turned around.
Traded
Marshawn, didn't take on Deshaun Watson. Lots of good moves from Mickey.
Mickey, Willie Green, they're just the rock in my shoe. They need to go.
We're going to talk about Willie a little later, unfortunately for you. Because
come on, Hunt, man.
I
go through enough abuse.
Well,
okay?
You're going to get some more. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back, close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Give you America's best warranty. Best in class with their warranty. Peace of mind is so important. You drive off the lot in that Genesis. The second you drive off the lot, powertrain warranty, 100,000 miles, 10-year. New vehicle warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles. How bummed do you get when you realize you got to do something to your car? You see those dollar signs, ting, 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 ting. Go by and ask the team at Genesis, what all does this cover? They will give you that information. It is unbelievably comforting to know that that's under warranty for that 5 years, 60,000 miles. You've got your 24/7 roadside assistance, your complimentary scheduled valet maintenance. We like all of those things because we like the folks at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ. Find that inventory online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out to Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms. Some of the best beef in America, and it's right here, just outside Baton Rouge, 30 miles. If you're a business owner, you've got clients, and you're thinking, what am I going to get the clients this year? Gone with the cigars, bottles of wine for years and years and years, and feel like that might be a little bit stale. Got an idea for you. Sagrera Farms. Call Sean up. Say, hey, I got clients. Can I get a side of beef from you? And then can you package it for me so that I can get this product to my clients, give them a wonderful Christmas gift of fillets, ribeyes, flanks, ground beef, chuck roasts. And Sean will be like, yeah, come on out. I'll show you the beef. We'll dry age it 45 days, get that packaged up for you, put it in lovely gift baskets, and get that to your clients. It'd be an amazing gift from your company to your clients. All you got to do is call my guy Sean Sagrera, who I talked to about an hour ago. Give him a call. His number, of course, is 225-719-1723. 719-1723. It's Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms. You know, I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I'm a little hesitant. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little hesitant to get into coaching candidates in depth right now in October. I think we're like 2 weeks away from really ramping that up. That's my opinion. I know it's fun to think about. Certainly cool to have a conversation with dad about. Certainly cool to have a conversation at church about on Sunday morning or at the office water cooler. But like really breaking it down, I'm not going to do that for like 15 guys. But what I do think is interesting, because the number is smaller, is to consider who LSU is swimming in the water with, because they've always told you that's so important. And I do think that there's a possibility that this is going to ramp up a little bit. We know LSU's in. We know Florida's in. We know Penn State's in. Those are the top dogs. I'm not going to put UCLA in that category. Florida, LSU, Penn State. All have their huge benefits and their huge upsides, and all have some detractions. And I could listen to an argument for any of them being the best job. I would struggle harder with Penn State, but it is in the Big Ten, which prints money. You do have an opportunity to go there and be the guy who does climb the mountain. Pennsylvania is talent rich. They do have some really good players on that roster right now. They've got money. It's an amazing stadium. Uniforms, my goodness, the uniforms are good. Not that matters, but just an aside. But I was struggling to call that the best. But I could listen to it, and I could listen to Florida, and I certainly can listen to LSU. But what else could be coming? Well, what about Auburn? Could be coming. I think it is. I don't think it's better than LSU, and it's still tough. I always thought the Auburn job would be a lot better when Saban quit. And it is better than when Saban was there. But Kalen DeBoer's having a big year. I'm not going to take that away from him. Right now, Alabama's ranked 4th in the country. They've won 7 games in a row, 4 over ranked teams. He's not Saban. He's not going to recruit to Saban's level. But he's doing a good job. Their signing class is stacked. So Auburn is good, just has its challenges. Florida State, kind of in the same boat. Not the first fiddle in your state, but good tradition. The conference is fledgling. But with that conference fledgling comes the opportunity to run up a gaudy record. What do I need to do to get to the playoff here? We need to beat Miami. And you got to play with Clemson, who's losing 3 games a year now. Who else scares you in that league? Virginia? Louisville? Georgia Tech? Like, okay, I can play with them. So there's a positive to that as well, if that should come open. And then there's another one that no one's talking about, and for good reason. They're ranked 18th in the country. I'm not here to tell you the 18th ranked team in the country is in a hurry to fire its coach. But let me paint you a picture of the 18th ranked team in the country and why they might be firing their coach. Because right now, the 18th ranked team in the country is 6-2. But they're at Tennessee this week. Not an easy game. They're at Bama in the next game. Not an easy game. Then they play Missouri, who's a top 20 team. May or may not have Bro Pabula. Then they got LSU. That's Oklahoma. If they're 6-2 right now, I think best case scenario, they finish 9-3. And that would not cost Brent Venables his job. 8-4, if you lose to Tennessee and Alabama on the road and beat Missouri and LSU. 8-4, is that good enough to keep his job? I don't know. 7-5, that's got to be fired. And all he's got to do to get to 7-5 is lose to Tennessee, lose to Alabama, and split home games with Missouri and LSU, and you are 7-5. And he will be fired. And at that point, Oklahoma jumps into the mix as well. And that's a really good job. Is it better than LSU? I would suggest no. Is it better than Florida? I would suggest no. Is it better than Penn State? I would suggest no. But are there candidates that might look at that as a place they really want to be? Might it affect your bargaining power at the table with one more hat potentially in the ring? It could. It absolutely could. And while I've said many, many times, like, I'm not here to compare coaches once they've been hired, what they do. Didn't care about Kelly versus Napier. Turns out they did the same thing, basically. But while you're in the process of hiring, that's worth keeping an eye on. And LSU absolutely has to compete with Florida right now. Absolutely has to compete with Penn State right now. I believe you'll have to compete with Auburn. I believe you'll have to compete with Florida State. I believe you'll have to compete with Oklahoma. And I'm just telling you, there aren't enough great candidates to go around for those jobs. That would be, what, 5 jobs? LSU, Florida, Penn State, Auburn, Florida State. That's Oklahoma. That's 6. And you could probably suggest that's 6 of, like, the top 15.
At least 15.
6 of the top 15?
At least.
I mean, certainly Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. Like, I could probably get there, but like Miami, maybe USC, Oregon.
But those jobs are up there for sure.
Yeah, it's way up toward the top.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be fighting. So hopefully LSU can put an administration together and go hire a coach. That's my sincere hope. If you want my thoughts on that whole situation over the last 24 hours, you can go check it out in our opening segment today. If you missed any of the show to start off today, you can catch that on demand wherever you find your sound. A Hunt on LSU is where you can find our LSU content. Hunt on Saints, where you can find our Saints content. I started the show talking about the governor and his press conference yesterday, as well as his appearance on Pat McAfee's show today. That was the top of the show. Then I talked about LSU's running game, went on the field. So if you're not interested in all that, not in the political game, but you like to know about LSU's football team, talked about Frank Wilson's quotes and how they're planning on running the football. And I talked about that at 1:15. Saints talk as they get ready for the Rams. That was at 1:30, and then close things out talking about who could be hiring coaches here in the next 2 months. We got a lot to get to in hour number 2. 20 minutes, Chris Blair talking Tigers. 35 minutes, Luke Johnson talking Saints. We will kickstart hour number 2 when we come back. It's a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show presented by Sagrera Farms and that premium Angus beef.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp,
Our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. As NFL Week 9 kicks off tonight, the Ravens welcome back quarterback Lamar Jackson after he missed the last 3 games with a hamstring injury. His return a must for Baltimore, hoping to become just the 5th team since the merger to make the playoffs after starting a season 1-5. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
It's not off the table that we could get a better version of a Ravens defense, a better version of the Ravens run game at this stage, now that we're getting close to November. I just got to see it before I believe it. And that's why looking at this game against the Miami Dolphins, it's going to tell me a lot more about the Baltimore Ravens one way or the other than it is anything about what Miami got going on.
Ravens 2 out of the AFC North lead and 2 out of the final AFC wildcard spot. Their next 5 opponents, a combined 11-28. Cardinals preparing for quarterback Kyler Murray to return from a foot injury Monday night against the Cowboys. Nebraska signed football coach Matt Rule to a 2-year extension through the 2032 season. His buyout this season increased to $15 million. NHL Avalanche signed center Marty Necas to an 8-year, $92 million extension.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty, coming up Friday. I know the Steelers are at 4-3, but I'll tell you why they're facing a can't-lose game against the Colts on Sunday. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2. Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. We'll talk to Chris Blair coming up in 15 minutes. Luke Johnson in 30 minutes, talking Saints. A couple guests coming up in this hour. I wanted to spend this segment. This is probably not a segment for next week. Probably not a segment for... it might be a segment for December, but not for next week when you're getting ready to play Alabama. But for this week, with a bye week, I feel like it probably applies. Does to me, at least. I don't know Garrett Nussmeier. I shook his hand in Atlanta at SEC Media Days. I've actually seen him at church a few times. He's been at Mass a couple times in the back. The Palmers can't go into the main area during Mass. We're a bit of a distraction, so we hang out in the back in the cry room. And every once in a while, Garrett did step in there, and I noticed him a couple times back there. But I think a lot of Garrett Nussmeier for not knowing him. I think a lot of the way he's handled himself, both behind the scenes and then once he's gotten into the limelight as the quarterback. I think a lot about the way that he's handled himself on the field. And just in this era, I think a lot about him and the way that his journey has unfolded. And it's just not going to end the way that he envisioned it. And that's a bummer. Like, it's a bummer. When I think about, because I wrote all these columns in June about Jared Jones and Cade Anderson and those guys who had their own winding trails. And you look at Jared Jones, who kind of lost his playing time as a freshman on an incredible team and had to kind of transform himself and become a better, more complete hitter. And then he had the struggles in Omaha where he had the 5 strikeout game, and you had the video of him that I actually took on the practice field, him and Jay Johnson working. And then he has those moments in Omaha, he breaks through and he becomes a national champion, which is the reason he came back. He could have gone to the draft after his sophomore year, came back. You think about Cade Anderson, who got hurt as a high schooler and ended up at LSU, and then was kind of a little used player as a freshman and reinvented himself and became a superstar and was just became legendary in Omaha. You think about some of those guys who finish their stories the way that you want to. And Garrett's story is not going to finish like that. And there's so many great things that led up to it. It was feeling storybook. You show up, and then they bring in a transfer quarterback, and he starts your first couple of years, but you've redshirted, and you come in and played some in the SC championship game when Jaden got hurt, came in and played against Alabama a little bit in mop-up time, and then the transfer portal's there, and the NIL's there, and he could move on because Jaden's coming back for a final year, which we thought maybe he wouldn't, and then he decides to, but Garrett doesn't leave, and he's outlasted a lot of quarterbacks over the course of these 5 years and never left. And then last year, he becomes a starting quarterback, and he throws for 4,000 yards. And that's a really productive year that put him on some draft boards. And he'd have gone last year. He'd have been a first or second round pick. Like, he would have been. He'd have been a top 60 pick. But he decided to come back. And you could say, well, he came back for millions of dollars, and he got an NIL package, no doubt. So it's not like poor, pitiful me. Like, he forfeited all this money. Like, he got paid to come back. But he decided to come back for LSU. He's always said about how much he wanted to play for LSU. He considers himself a Louisianian, even though he's had to move around a lot because his dad's a coach. And he's coaching Florida, and he's coaching Alabama, and he's coaching Washington, and he's coaching Cowboys, and he's all over the place. But Garrett always felt like he was a Louisiana guy because that's where his mom's family's from. And he decides to come back. And he made that decision to win a championship. And he's on all the Heisman boards, and you're like, look at this, like, this could be a really cool story. And you're like, this is a quarterback who stuck it out 5 years. I mean, it's very Matt Flynn-esque, right? Flynn only got the 1 year, but like Flynn sat behind the number one pick in the draft. He sat behind the Heisman Trophy winner who went second, and now Flynn, because he engineered that incredible national championship team, like, he's revered down here. And it's because he waited his turn and then produced the final stage. And if Garrett Nussmeier had Matt Flynn's defense and Matt Flynn's offensive line, like, he probably would have lived that out. And Garrett's not blameless here. Like, it's not like he's been perfect this year, but he also got hurt. And his offensive line is not good. And the defense is buckled. And the point of this segment is not to suggest that Garrett Nussmeier is awesome and everything crumbled around him. It's to suggest that this story was writing itself, and he gets 18, and he goes to SEC Media Days, and this just hasn't been the year. He got hurt. He hasn't been productive. The team's already lost 3 games. The coach got fired. And I think about Garrett because he's like one of the few guys out there that's been here for 5 years. I don't think the same way about Garrett's journey to LSU as I do some of these transfers that have just come here. I'm sure they're just as disappointed that LSU's not going to win a national championship. But their situation's not quite the same as Garrett's. And I just got to thinking about that because we revere a lot of quarterbacks around here, and certainly he was next up. It was Joe, then it was Jaden, and Garrett was going to be the next guy. And everybody talked about, well, Joe was a 5th year, and he went from his 4th to 5th year. Boom. And Jaden was a 5th year, and he went from his 4th to 5th year. Boom. And Garrett is a 5th year, and he's going to go from his 4th to 5th year, and it's not there. And that stinks. And I realized that they're like this, and I talked about this a little bit on Monday, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm just going to briefly mention it. But like, it bummed me out to hear when Garrett was announced on Monday on Saturday over the loudspeaker that like some of the students booed. And like that bums me out. I talked about it on Monday. I'm not going to go back and do it again. But I hope that Garrett looks back on this as a fun time because I liked his work ethic. I liked his energy. I liked his commitment to the program. I liked his toughness. I mean, you watch these games. He is getting waylaid. That first sack that Howell had coming off the corner where Kern never touched him on Saturday, I mean, he got popped. Vanderbilt, they were beating him up, and he's standing in there like he's not mobile. He's not going to, like, get out of there and move a lot. Like, he's going to try to stand in there and make the throw, and he's getting hit, man. And it's a tough existence back there. And there are plenty of guys working just as hard as Garrett and plenty of guys who are just as committed to the team as Garrett, and I get the whole thing. But he's the one that stands out because of the position he plays, the number he's wearing, and the fact that he's been here for 5 years. And we glorify and spend a lot of time thinking about Jared Jones and Cade Anderson and then Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens and Matt Flynn, who I mentioned, and Joe Burrow, and those guys that accomplished it all. And they're the legends. They're the happy story. And Garrett's not going to be a legend at LSU. When you think about Garrett Nussmeier's era in Baton Rouge, it's going to be like, well, nope, threw for some yards, coach got fired, and they kind of disappointed as a team. That's the era he played in. He was the face of the Kelly era. And as we've talked about over the last 3 days, the Miles era had its up and downs, but it had the up. And the Orgeron era had its ups and downs on both sides of the up. And there wasn't really the up of the Kelly era except the Alabama game, and that was Jaden. And maybe you would suggest that Jaden was the face of the Kelly era, and I can get behind that. It was 4 years, and 2 were Jaden, and 2 were Nuss. And so that's semantics. It doesn't really matter. But this segment's about Garrett, and I'll be pulling for him these last 4, and I'll be pulling for him on draft day because I feel like he's committed. I feel like he's worked hard. I feel like he's been tough, and it just hasn't played out in the storybook fashion that so many athletes in Baton Rouge have had it play out for. Like if you go to College Station right now, you go to Oxford right now, like most cases in Knoxville outside of the baseball team, like there aren't a lot of national championship stories and Heisman stories. They've happened a lot here in Baton Rouge. This is just not going to be one of them, and that's a bit of a bummer. I'll be pulling for Garrett Nussmeier the last four games, and then whatever the next chapter holds for him. Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef, top 1%. You're talking about an intramuscular fat score. Prime is 8 or 9. They're 13, 15, 17, 19. He's got 20s on that farm. The marbling, the tenderness, the flavor. It's all top of the line at Sagrera Farms. There's only 2 places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. The Farm, Sagrera Farms, or Supper Club. That's it. Some of the best beef in the country, and it's right here outside of Baton Rouge. If you're looking for a Christmas present for your office, looking for a Christmas present for your kids are grown up, you don't know what to do for the 4 kids you've got, well, just get a side of beef and split it between the 4. Pretty good idea. Sean's happy to help you with all the packaging as well. We'll step aside, come back with Chris Blair next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, doesn't have to be a huge project for David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. They can do the full-scale bathroom renovation. They can do it all. Rip that tub out, put a new shower in, rip the shower out, convert it to a closet, like handle your vanity. Like they can do the full-scale thing. They can also do tub-to-shower conversion, 3 to 5 days. Take the tub out, put a shower in, good as new. If you're looking for financing options, they've got them 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. It's David Duvall on One Bath and Closets. Don't just call the handyman down the street. Go with a company that's been doing this for 30 years, with a company that's licensed, bonded, and insured, with a company that's got a master plumber at the ready. It's David Duvall on One Bath and Closets. Find him online and get that free consultation. That doesn't cost you anything. Talk to David. It's OneBathAndClosets.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Chugging along here, Luke Johnson talking Saints in 15 minutes. Voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, with us on Thursdays. Chris, anything happened since we last spoke?
No, Hunt. First things first. What are you hearing, bro? What are you hearing? What do you got?
I get a lot of that. I'm sure you get plenty as well. What do you hear? What do you got? Well, here's the deal. It's October, and they're not hiring a coach until a long time, so I got nothing for you.
Yeah. I picked the wrong week. I turned down that trip to Barbados. I should have rethought that. But here we are. No, I'm with you, man. I mean, it's been a wild week, and the week's not over yet.
I tried to explain. I mean, there weren't very many people in the stadium in the third and fourth quarter on Saturday. I realized that we're not going to get too deep into the weeds there, and we got stuff to look forward to here. But, that was a surreal experience for me. Was it for you?
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure Jacob talked about it on his show. I mean, it was, I would look over to my right up there in the booth, and again, Jacob would he was just in awe. I mean, again, all of us were kind of like, what just happened? I mean, it hit 5 seconds into the second round of a prize fight. It was knees got wobbly and it was over. So I don't know that I've ever been a part of I've seen some bad football, don't get me wrong, but I don't know that I've seen a complete 180 that quickly from what looked like a little momentum. I know they lost a little bit in the second quarter, but it was something to watch. I don't know if I can describe it any other way.
Yeah, it certainly was. And look, we're not here to litigate most of the past, but I do want to talk about one positive because I got it from Frank Wilson's press conference on Tuesday, and I used it because we're moving forward here. But Harlan Berry looked good in that first quarter. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the guy that right now you'd be crazy not to feed the football to. I mean, until it's like the old saying goes, run the play until they stop you, and until suddenly he's going backwards. I mean, I don't know if it's. Obviously he's got a lot of skill and talent. He wouldn't be wearing an LSU uniform. But I've asked Jacob on the air a number of times because he obviously knows more about being a running back than I do. For whatever reason, he seems to be the more patient back. Again, he's not going to get gaping holes that you could drive a Mack truck through, but he seems to be the only back that whether it's he doesn't know any better or it's just he's got that type of skill and the ability to slow the game down, he's the guy that at least is waiting until that crease, ever how small it is there for him to get through it. And then he relies on, as I said, his God-given talent, which is being able to explode in those first couple of steps. But to me, that's your running back. He's the closest consistent to what I would say is your RB1, certainly over the last couple of weeks. Now, that's taking nothing away from Caden Durham. I mean, I just think right now until Harlem Berry shows you he needs a break and taps out after a 60-yard run or something to that matter, I think that's the guy you feed the ball to.
I would have to agree with that. You spent some time around Frank Wilson. How do you think he handles this situation moving forward?
Well, I think he'll handle it fine, and I thought he certainly won the day, and I think calmed a little bit of the treacherous waters, if you will, with the press conference on Tuesday, because I know it means a lot to him. It means a lot to a lot of guys, frankly, that have been working in that football building for a long time. So, I kudos on, I think, kind of setting the tone of what the team's mindset should be as far as, here's what we got, guys, 4 more games. They're not really going to get easier, but we're going to go out swinging and fighting. I saw Shakeup, along with some other former Tigers, speak to the team.
Yeah.
And what it means to put on that uniform. And I'm not saying these guys and these players have forgotten what it means, but I think it's important on a regular basis, whoever it is, to remind them that, yes, you're a talented player and you're here because of your skill and the hard work that you put in. But let's not forget what made LSU LSU. And so, again, so far he's checked every box for me. And we'll see. This week is more about kind of settling things down and putting out fires and calming nerves and all that goes with what took place on Sunday, while they're still preparing for football. I think we'll hear a little more X's and O's from Coach Wilson, starting on Monday with the press conference and then obviously leading into the game next weekend.
We've seen the old interim bump and that kind of breath of fresh air for college teams across the country year to year. Certainly saw it from UAB, certainly seen it from UCLA as well. Any sense that LSU could play a little freer, a little without the pressure of the national championship weighing over them?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's a couple of reasons that goes in, and number one, it's what you just alluded to. There's always kind of a natural bump and a adrenaline high, if you will, for a change. Whether or not you were in favor of the change or not really doesn't matter. It's just there's a new day here, so let's embrace the new day. And then secondly, I just get a sense, again, going back to very little of what Coach Wilson was talking about Tuesday, but you could see, tongue firmly in cheek, there's some things that they think they should do more of that we can expect to see more of. And frankly, when you look at this roster, there's talent that I think has been underutilized for whatever reason. Is it all on the coaches? No. Is it the players have not made plays when the opportunities were there? Yes. But I think overall, these are some guys that can play some football. And it's an old cliche, but it's so true. If you want to be a great coach, whether you're the head coach, the OC, the DC, the defensive, whatever your position is, put the players in a position to be successful. That's what I'm going to be looking for in practice next week, and certainly not only against Alabama, but for the rest of the season, because I'm just not buying that this roster, the difference between A&M and LSU is what we saw last Saturday. I'm just not buying it.
Neither. How big a deal do you think Whitweek's loss was for that defense? They just haven't quite played to the standard the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think you and I talked about it last week. Obviously his playmaking ability, his ability to do a great job sideline to sideline in the position he's asked to do. But from what I gathered, asking the questions over the last 2 weeks, they were kind of moving that green dot assignment and tried a couple of guys. So to me, my thing was I just think the loss of him being the green dot, the quarterback on the defensive side, I think that was also missing, because not only did you not have his playmaking ability, I think he's very responsible and gets a lot of credit, deservedly so, for making sure everybody's where they need to be pre-snap. And, again, if you tell me we tried this guy, and then against A&M we tried this guy, then that tells me that's a big loss when Witt's not out there.
No question about that. Last one on the football side. Coach Wilson going to join you next week?
Yeah, that's the plan. Looking forward to it. Again, I think it's a great decision with all things considered. He certainly has the voice that I think grabs the players. I think the coaches are in favor of this. So it'll be fun to get him on there. And again, we're going to talk about football That's all we're talking about next Thursday.
I would like that a lot. Also, I think I'm going to start talking about next week is basketball. The basketball team, next time we speak, will have played a game in the PMAC next Wednesday. We're not going to get in the weeds on basketball right now, but a question here. I mean, your kind of thoughts on Coach McMahon and entering with a whole new cast of characters this year, and they got a chance to get on the floor on Sunday and got a victory in an exhibition game over a Central Florida team.
Yeah, I mean, the staff, indeed. I mean, I've told you before, my office is near them, and I see the hours they put into it and the work they put into it, and frankly, Hunt, the excitement that I've seen been building. And, again, I had a chance to watch the exhibition game in Orlando. I think this roster, just by turning on the TV, looks a lot more like an SEC roster, again, with the size on the front line. And really, for the first time in a while, I feel very excited to see the point guard position. And I think, again, time will tell. We got a lot of basketball to play before we get to January. But it looks like that point guard, that facilitator position is SEC caliber. And again, that's everything I've gotten from people who have watched the practices. They know a little bit about this roster. And again, you can have great individual players. It doesn't take as many to have a solid basketball team. But if you don't have the facilitator that also can score in 2025-26, to me, you're at a big disadvantage. So, again, the early verdict for me is that I think the things that probably the eye test told you last year have been much improved going into this season. So, yeah, with 100%, I'm excited to get it started on Wednesday.
Not a lot of Saturdays off between now and hopefully July, so enjoy this one. We'll talk next week, all right?
Yeah, no, Jay, he's insistent on playing until late June, and I'm all for it. So here we go. Buckle up.
Sounds good. That's Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, with us on Thursdays. No coaches show this weekend, but we'll have one next week with Frank Wilson meeting with Chris Blair on TJ Ribs next Thursday, 7 o'clock. So, like I said, football's off this weekend, and you got football the next 4 Saturdays, and then beyond that, you got basketball just about every week, and basketball obviously goes into baseball. And so you've got LSU sports just about every Saturday moving forward, and hopefully, like we said, into July. Jay Johnson made a habit of keeping people in Omaha for 2 weeks. So hopefully that's the case this time around. We'll all enjoy a little bit of time off on Saturday. I'm told I'm doing family pictures on Sunday, so not a complete weekend off, but I don't have to be up until 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, which happens sometimes when you have a late game and a post-game show and then a column to write. So take the respite when we can get it. We'll come back and talk some Saints. Speaking of Sunday, Saints and Rams, 3 o'clock from L.A. We'll talk to Luke Johnson about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance side of things. He wanted me to be sure to let everyone know, if you have a January 1st renewal, the time to look at that is not like December 20th. The time to look for that is now, because if you look at it now, you've got an opportunity to let the Highland Insurance Group take a look at what your current program looks like, audit that, see where there may be some issues, and fill those voids, whether it's a different program, different line of coverage, or just removing some exclusions, or perhaps shopping it to a different carrier to save some money on the premium. But you can't do that in 3 days. You don't want to do that when half people are out on vacation at the end of the year. Start that process today with the Highland Insurance Group. They will make sure that your coverage is right. They will make sure that your carrier is right. And because of that, your price will be right as well. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They are based here in Baton Rouge, but they're able to help you out statewide. They've got access to captives. They can help you out for your commercial insurance. Give them a phone call or check them out online, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Chugging right along here, working towards the weekend. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Time to head down to NOLA, talk Saints. Our guy Luke Johnson, NOLA.com, and The Advocate. Luke, how we doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I would say instead of chugging right along, we're shucking right along. You know?
It took me like half a second. I went to Oysters immediately, and then I went back, and I was like, oh, the quarterback's name.
Yeah.
Look, man,
yeah,
I've got more on the brain down here with whatever the heck's going on down the street. It's just very difficult to process things very quickly. But I got there eventually. Way to go. Surprised that Tyler Shuck got the call this week?
No. I think the only reason that I thought maybe it would happen a little bit later is, I mean, this is going to be a really, really tough test. The Rams are one of the better teams in the NFL, and the thing they do really, really well is the thing that kind of Shuck has struggled with in his short professional career and even in his college career. They really get after the passer well. 26 sacks in 7 games, second in the NFL. Jared Verse is awesome. He's got 4 sacks and 17 quarterback hits. He's got Byron Young, who's already got a career high with 9 sacks. And I think 11 guys on their defense have recorded a sack this year. They're really tough. So that's like the only reason that I thought maybe they might wait one more game. But I just think they were like, it's time. They're 1-7. Shuck gets the entire second half of the year. You get to see what he can do against a really tough defense. And I think he might have his struggles, but Kellen Moore said yesterday that he's going to be the guy the remainder of the season, barring injury. So. He'll get his chance to sink or swim out there.
You've answered my follow-up questions, but I'll drill down a little bit deeper. So this is purely for the future of the organization, or you think it gives them a better chance to have more wins down the stretch, or we just want to see?
I think it's the last point.
Okay.
Right. They've got, if the season ended right now, they have the #1 overall pick. Right. They need to find out as well as they can whether or not they have their quarterback of the future in the building. And they got to see it with Spencer Rattler, and it was pretty good, but like, you got the number 40 overall pick on your team right now. He's somebody you obviously invested in. You've invested a lot of time in him. You need to see whether he can be the guy. And it's a weird situation. It's not exactly fair to either Rattler or Shuck. if they're really truly looking at like, do we need to draft a quarterback, top 3 next year? But like you are in this situation, you've kind of created it yourself. Now you got to see, because if he doesn't show, I don't think he has to win a bunch of games, but if he doesn't show like some high level traits and some stuff that you can really get excited about moving forward, like, they're going to be in the quarterback market next year.
What's your level of disappointment with the ecosystem around the quarterbacks, the offensive line, the pass catchers, the running game, those things?
I mean, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you could have made the argument last year that the Saints were a decent to good NFL team that just got hit with an obscene amount of injuries.
Yeah.
There's no way, there's no way you could really tell how good they were. They've been pretty healthy this year. I mean, the loss of Eric McCoy is one thing, but I mean, Shaheed has played in every game. Olave's played in every game. Kamara's played in every game. 4 of your starting linemen have been in there for every game, sometimes 5. And it hasn't been good enough, and I think that the receivers have been particularly disappointing. It was one of the strong suits of this roster coming in, and they've had some good moments, some big individual games, but over the course of the season, I mean, just like last week alone, you're talking drops and fumbles and not making the play in the critical situation. Juwan Johnson had 2 big drops with Tyler Shakeup. You're paying that guy $10 million a year. Olave, the interception that Shuck threw, I mean, that hit Olave in the hands. You could have made a better throw. You kind of led him toward the defender, but like, you expect a guy like Olave to make that play. So it's been disappointing all around, just because they've been healthy. It was the one thing this team needed to do, and they did it, and they're still 1-7 right now. So
let's stick to the offense before we switch over to the defense. Like, what's your expectation for Sunday? I can't imagine it's real high.
Yeah, no, I've got pretty low expectations for Sunday. It's just like, I think this Rams defense is gettable in some spots. Their secondary is not great. Their linebackers, I think, are okay, but not great. It's just about the defensive front though, and those guys have done a really, really good job of both getting after the passer and stopping the run. And that's like, when you look at this Saints offense, if they're doing anything right, they're running the football and they're keeping the quarterback upright. I don't see either of those 2 things happening this weekend.
All right, let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Like, respectable effort on Sunday. Hasn't been every game, but what did you see from the defense back in Sunday's game?
Yeah, I think I think it's really encouraging that we're seeing Chase Young play at a really, really high level. Like, he ate Tristan Wirfs' lunch on several reps in that game. I remember one, just watching it live, it ended up being like an incomplete pass, not like a sack or anything, but he walked Tristan Wirfs right back into Baker Mayfield. That's really exciting. Like, if they can get that out of him the rest of the year, and then going into next year, like, that makes that 3-year, $51 million deal look really, really good, especially if you compare him with another like high-end pass rusher. And you've seen some good stuff out of like Quincy Riley and Jonas Sanker and Kool-Aid McKinstry making a couple plays in the end zone. Like, there's some encouraging stuff there, but I still think it's just, they've got kind of bits and pieces on that unit. I think when we're looking at this team and what they need to do to get better, like, I think it kind of starts with an overhaul of that side of the ball, and just getting more youth in there. Letting the young players that are in get the experience they need, to where, like, when you're in a position to maybe start contending again, those guys are really playing important football for you.
If I hand you a crisp $10 bill to take to the window, the Saints will make a move before the trade deadline, or they will not, where would you place that wager?
I would place it on they will make a move.
Okay.
Just because I think they understand where they are. And I think they know they have some valuable assets. I just don't expect it to be like a fire sale. That's just not in Mickey Loomis's DNA. Like, he'll make a move for, if it is something that he thinks could really benefit the franchise. I know they're reportedly in discussions with Chris Olave about a new contract. I don't know exactly where those discussions are, and if Olave's asking for like $29, $30 million a year, see what you can get for him, because I think that's probably not a move you want to make if you're the Saints at this stage. I think Shaheed's on the table. I think some of their offensive linemen, maybe some of their defensive players that aren't like rookies or Chase Young are on the table. I think they will make some sort of a move. I'm just not expecting them to be like, here's Trevor Penning and Cesar Ruiz and Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are all gone. Now we're going to try to see what Tyler Shuck can do.
That's fair. I mean, I think keeping some semblance of offensive continuity for the young quarterback makes a lot of sense, just because you got to see what you got in that guy. Last one, just kind of a vibes question. Like, what's the Dome like at this point?
Oh, I mean, not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got to be kind of feisty when they're making that fourth down stop, the goal line stop. Yeah. And it was like shades of what it used to be, but the get-in prices for that game were like $7.
Yep.
And when they're going to have teams in here with larger followings than the Buccaneers, teams that travel more, especially later in the year, teams from the north coming down where their fans want to get away from their weather and go to a cool city. I think we're going to see a lot of Dome takeovers. It's just kind of where they're at right now. Look, they got a lot of work, ahead of them to build themselves back up into what they used to be. But that's certainly reflected in the Dome.
At least the city's got the Pels, right?
Woo! Yeah. What they lose by the other night? About 55.
They got outscored 29-2 at one point in an NBA game, which is almost impossible.
My colleague Rod Walker was like, "It's the fourth game of the season. They've already quit." I'm like, "Good God, good God."
All right, we got a fired football coach in Baton Rouge, 1-7 in New Orleans, and a fired coach coming in the Pelicans. It's a sad scene down here in South Louisiana. We'll keep plugging along. We'll talk to you next week, man.
Yeah, go Green Wave, right?
That's it.
Good
Roll
God.
Wave.
All right.
Maybe his coach, maybe their coach will come to Baton Rouge.
Yeah, maybe so, man. Please just give me some semblance of competence. That's all I want, man.
All right, he's Luke Johnson from NOLA.com, @by Luke Johnson on Twitter, writes for The Advocate as well, with us every single Thursday. Jordan, would you like to talk about the Pelicans getting outscored 29-2 over the course of a point in the third quarter?
I mean, that's kind of happens every game for the Pelicans. So
that does not happen every – I bet you don't even know what the Washington Generals are. Do you know who the Washington Generals are?
That's the Globetrotters, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
that is what that sounds like. It sounds like the Globetrotters against the Washington Generals. And it's a team that's actually attempting to win early in the season. And they got outscored by 1,000.
Yeah. But like I said, game one, the Grizzlies went on like a 19-2 run, and then Boston went on like a 14-0. It's really green. There's really no other thing to say about the Pelicans. I said today in my video, Pelican Scoop on YouTube, everybody
check it out.
And, check out. I said in the video today, I'm like, the problem is that I care more than the organization cares. So
that's a bad feeling.
It's a terrible feeling, because it's like, I just said, remember yesterday, I was like, somebody could break into my car right now and leave 2 Pelican tickets and I wouldn't go to the game. That's where I'm at right now, because I'm not finna go to a Pelicans game, basically like a $15, $16 ticket, and buy a $15, $16 beer. Like, the beer is the same price as the tickets. Like, it's all bad. Between the Saints, between the Pelicans, there's one common denominator between both of those people.
Yep.
So I ain't going to do too much on, about that, but we all know it's the one common denominator between the two franchises. Something's got to give, something's got to shake. You're 0-4 in the Western Conference in a season where you don't have a first-round pick.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, you don't have a first-round
pick. The national so what I've seen on Twitter, the local people are like, this team sucks, this is embarrassing. The national people are going, they don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah.
They traded the first-round pick. They could be bottom 3 team in the NBA. Got no pick. It's unfathomable.
It's really not just the getting rid of the pick. It's more there's no protections on the pick. Like,
right.
It's not like, it's a top 3 protection, so Pelicans can get it back, or it's, here you go. Here. So the problem is you do that, and then the guy you took the pick with, Derek Queen, you only played him 14 minutes. He's got to play regardless of the fact, good or bad. He's got to play. You can't have 40-year-old DeAndre Jordan coming off the couch, who wasn't even in the NBA last week, logging a start against the best center, probably one of the best players in his generation, in Nikola Jokic.
No doubt.
That's just like, I could have played 20 minutes last night and it would have been the same result. That's bad. That's bad.
It's a tough scene.
Tough scene, man.
Do we think Willie's going to make it to Monday?
No, he don't even need to make it today. Why is he still hired right now? No.
He's still hired. I'm just asking if he's going to make it to Monday. It's Thursday.
But you know, this is the Pelicans organization. He probably will. He probably will make it. Yes, he actually might make it.
I mean, the NBA fires coaches on the regular. And Willie's just like, yeah, did we make the playoffs? No. We get in the play-in? Yeah. Did we get out of that? No. Or, like he's just always hired. He just never gets fired. Everyone else gets fired.
Everybody. Hunt. Mike Malone won an NBA championship.
There are two guys that have been won NBA championships
2 years ago, and he doesn't have a job. He's on his couch right now, and he won a championship 2 years ago. Willie Green, the Pelicans haven't won a game in over, I think it was 200 days. It's like half the year, and he has a job. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, we got to laugh. I don't mean to laugh. It's all we can do.
No, it is.
The Pelicans are terrible.
Yes.
The Saints are terrible. LSU's firing their coach. Yeah. It's just bad. It's a bad scene. I don't know what else to do but chuckle here and there.
Look,
I've had some moments of non-chuckles, but this is a chuckle moment.
Look, that's the franchise fault. We're a laughing stock. That's not on you for laughing. You're laughing at the reality.
It's true. We'll close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Rentals. They got them at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You've probably heard me do this read several times. And you're thinking, I just never had the opportunity to get behind the wheel. Well, if you don't want to put miles on your car for your Thanksgiving vacation, for your Christmas vacation, and you want a rental to make that trip, go to Genesis and see them. It's your opportunity to get behind the wheel and see the difference. You will feel the style. You'll feel the comfort, the elegance. You'll see all those bells and whistles, because I tell you that every model is an IHS top safety pick. And they got them to rent. So go rent one. Go on that road trip. When you come back, I fully expect you'll walk on into the dealership and say, I'm going to need to get one of these when I get my opportunity. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. That's the Genesis model. They're on airline at PQ. You can find the inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge online. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, Our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out to Sean Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Labor love for Sean Sagrera up there, and he's turned it into an awesome business and a great resource here for us in South Louisiana. Some of the best beef in the country is raised right here, just outside of Baton Rouge. Looking for holiday meats for clients, family members, contact Sean Sagrera. He'll help you put together a great gift packet of Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. All right, got one more order of business, but before we do that, Matt just tweeted. I knew this was in the works. I did not have confirmation on it, so I want to pass it along. I do have confirmation. So in an hour and 10 minutes, 4 o'clock straight up, Governor Landry will join Matt Moscona on After Further Review. So Governor Landry obviously had to say what he had to say in the press conference yesterday. He went on Pat McAfee's show today. I talked about what he said in my open today, if you want to go check that out. And he'll join Matt today at 4 o'clock. A lot of media opportunities for the governor, talking about LSU's athletic director and football coach. So he'll be on the air an hour and 10 minutes from right now with Matt. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. I can't promise you much, but I can promise you this. I'll be having a Flight by Yingling to this evening. Maybe 2 of them. I will have to say that with certainty after today's festivities. It's the next generation of light beer, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, all the flavor you're looking for in a delicious light beer, brewed by the oldest brewery in America, Flight by Yingling.
All right, let's start it off with some, I guess, the sorry Saints. Well, the Saints, the Saints will either trade Chris Olave or Rashid Shaheed at the trade deadline. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
If Luke was just throwing out a hypothetical in the last segment, but I did chuckle in the air. If he said Olave wants $20 to $30 million,
that's crazy.
Sorry, sir. Yeah. You can move on. We'll trade you. We'll get we'll take the 5th round pick, and you can move. There's just no shot in the dark that I'm giving that guy that kind of money. I think he's a fine NFL player. He is league average at wide receiver. But if you're commanding, bottom end of number 1 wide receiver money, forget about it. There's just no chance.
Yeah, I'm about to say Olave. When I see him, he's a solid 2 at best. Solid 2. So
catch the ball. Catch the ball.
That too. Get some new gloves or something. All right. Alienating former players and not allowing them to come visit practice. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. I mean, that's something that Ed Ogeron really welcomed the former players back when he took over as interim, and Frank Wilson certainly doing that. Jacob Hester, Matt Flynn were at practice. Saw Ryan Clark make a stop in at practice. They're going to bring some guys in to talk to those guys because at this point, like you are playing for your tape for maybe your next school, maybe your next team in the NFL, or you're playing for LSU at this point. Your goals are kind of off the table, and you're going to bring some guys in that can just relay how important it is to put that uniform on. And I think that message will resonate to some. It won't resonate to others, but it certainly won't resonate to anybody if you don't have the opportunity and don't get those guys in there to do it. So Frank knows what buttons to push. He's got a great relationship with former players and a great relationship with the current players. I don't know what the next 4 weeks hold for LSU in terms of wins and losses, but Frank will do what he can to try to keep that thing together.
So I haven't really covered teams this closely. Is that normal for a coach to just, excommunicate the former players?
Football coaches are weird.
Okay.
They're paranoid. Sometimes they let the media in. Sometimes they kick them out. Sometimes they let former players in. Sometimes they kick them out. Brian Kelly gave us the most media access we've ever had.
Yeah.
He let us do whole practices in August. But, some former players felt like they were a little bit alienated. It's just Brian Kelly I'm not ready to do this segment yet. I'm still making some phone calls and talking to some people about what was going on the last 4 years.
Behind the scenes.
Sounds like people skills was low on the totem pole is in generalities, and that's part of the relationship thing that it just did not concern him.
Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, being watched by the government. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it in some senses. I want the government to have its watchful eye over our society.
Yeah.
Individuals, I might pass on that. I don't know where you're going with that, but I think we'll pass on that. We'll leave that right where it stands. It's weird times down here at LSU.
Very weird.
If you missed my opening monologue today, I just talked about the last, I guess now that it's 3 o'clock, 24 hours for LSU and for the state of Louisiana with the governor. I will be listening to the governor on with Matt today at 4 o'clock. I'm curious what he has to say. I opened my show today suggesting, I don't know what the governor's done with hurricane preparedness and coastal erosion and the economic policies that he's put in place. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't spend any time on it. But it crossed over yesterday, and that's where my job comes in, and I gave my thoughts on it. And the thing is, it's been disappointing for me over the last 24 hours in a number of respects. We'll see what he has to say when he comes on with Matt. We're done. You can catch our show on demand wherever you find your sound. We're back tomorrow for a Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Matt will drive you home next on After Further View. Have a great Thursday. See you tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care.